Students are preparing to go back to school next week. Many will have new mask policies and increased COVID mitigation in an effort to keep students in person and in school. We spoke to the Osseo superintendent about that issue and more in today's Newsmakers.
To begin, the school district updated their mask policy. Can you give us a glimpse of the thought process and the procedures behind that decision?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me again too. And the mask requirements part of many mitigation strategies that we are implementing this year, because it's more than any one thing, and with the goal of having students in school, in person, and staying there. That is our goal. That's one thing we learned from last year, moving in and out of learning models, is we need kids in school for their learning to be at optimal levels. So when it comes to masks, we really felt like we needed to follow the guidance of the CDC, our Minnesota Department of Health, and our local county public health recommendations. So we look at a number of different data points on transmission rates, and not only in the county but in our local cities. And historically, our cities in our district have been some of the highest transmission rates in the county. And then once we get into school, we'll also monitor the case rates in our buildings as well. So we look at a number of different sets of information, and then consultation with public health, MDH, and Hennepin County Public Health to help us make decisions around what makes the most sense with what we know right now. Now, honestly, it changes all the time. A month ago wasn't where it is today. So we are always kind of challenged to stay on our feet and make the commitment to being willing to adjust should the information change.
Absolutely. What's your theme for this year and the thought process behind it?
Forging a new path. So one of the things we learned last year was when you have to do things you never thought you'd have to do before in education, we had to create some new pathways. And I will just say we attribute to our families, our students, and our staff. Every time we had to do something new, we stepped up and met that challenge. So this year it's kind of the same. We're going to do some things we've never done before, forge a new path. And we're just really excited to get the year started, have students back in our schools, the relationships and connections that we missed last year. We're really excited to have that in place to start the year and have that consistency.
All right. And you'll be debuting a strategic plan coming up. Can you give us a glimpse of what that will be about?
Yeah, our stakeholders, our students, our families, and our community have really said we want excellence, we want engagement, we want equity. So those are really the three themes that we're going to build this new plan off of and really drive our success for the future.
And will there be an opportunity for community input on different facets?
We've been doing that for 2 years on and off, so we've had lots of input up to this point, and there'll be one more touch point likely for feedback before we finalize it and before the school board votes on it.
All right, first day of school is right around the corner. Is everybody excited?
Starts Wednesday. Yeah, we're very excited to have everybody back and to see our students getting on those buses and coming through the doors and starting school. We're just really excited to get going.
All right. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
The students at Brooklyn Center High will have something to look forward to this fall when Friday night lights are back at the football stadium. As we look back at some of our favorite stories from the summer months, this story from Delane, Cleveland stands out.
The stadium at Brooklyn Center High School is home to multiple sports teams. But for the past 3 years, it's lacked one key amenity, a functional lighting system.
We've been playing day games for football, soccer. Anything that happens out here has to be worked around when we have daylight.
In 2018, the lights shut off during a Centaurs football game. When the athletic director called Xcel Energy to have them fix the problem, he got bad news.
They looked and they said, this is not a safe system to use anymore, and we can't allow you to use it.
So for 3 years, these Silver Sentinels have stood high above the football field, disconnected from a power source.
And so since then, we've been working with how do we bring lights back?
It's a goal that's not easy for a small school district to accomplish on its own. Only now, they have some help, thanks to Minnesota Vikings star receiver Adam Thielen.
When Adam and Kate learned that the lights were red tagged and there were no Friday night lights, it really spoke to them, and they said, we're going to take care of that.
Amy Sinclair is executive director of the Thielen Foundation. The organization recently launched a campaign to raise $275,000 to help bring the stadium lights back to Brooklyn Center High School. It's an amenity that would put Brooklyn Center on par with the larger schools.
So we feel like if they're successful on the field and feel good about themselves, that's going to spill over into the classroom and also into a future career. So we really like to support them in that way.
Officials from the Thielen Foundation hope to have an official dedication ceremony in the fall under the new stadium lights when they make their long-awaited debut. In Brooklyn Center, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
Finally, this segment, Neil Persley got a chance to check in with a crystal entrepreneur at the Minnesota State Fair.
But then if you
Tony Nelson
Nordic Love, we're super excited about Nordic Love.
is passionate
All our puzzles have a twist.
about puzzles.
The image on the box cover is going to be a little bit different than the puzzle you build.
And for the last 11 years, Tony and his wife have been producing curious puzzles with something amiss from their headquarters in Crystal.
You have to think more about what the puzzle's going to be.
They'd always thought it impossible to get a spot at the state fair until Tony's wife submitted an application on a whim.
Well, then we got a call, and we got in 2019, and we did well then. Obviously, we didn't have a state fair last year, but we're happy to be back this year.
They have several brand new puzzles being unveiled at the fair this year.
This is Color Me Minnesota. It's the state of Minnesota. It has a ton of detail.
They enlist many different Minnesota artists,
This one is called Nordic Love.
also a Minnesota baker.
This one here is done by Danny Daniels, and it's called Holiday Cookies from Minnesota.
PuzzleTwist is in the merchandise building, and they have a puzzle for just about any interest you may have. At the state fair, Neil Persley, CCX News.